Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
This is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers, and this week we're listening to that knock at the cabin door, and it is from Batista coming from the wild, and he's hunting down some poor unfortunates. Noel, what did you make of this movie? What did you know about this movie? And was it everything you hoped it would be?
Okay, what did I know about this movie? That Batista was in it. What did I think of this movie? I really enjoyed this movie. And I have to say, the second they came in, I believed them. So remember, I've been joking with you a few times that right at this point, Shyamalan's best twist could be not really having a twist.
Yeah,
like that would fuck with me now.
Yeah,
because everything is a twist.
twist,
and then there's a twist inside the twist.
Yeah.
And then it turns out it's all in this different universe, and
yeah,
it goes on and on. But when they came in, I believed them.
Yeah,
and very early on with our little Harry Potter friend, we find out that
Rupert Grint.
Yeah, we find out that there's actually something to what they're saying.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm waiting for this to all be an elaborate hoax.
Yeah,
or something. And then when it wasn't, I was like, you finally did it. You just fucking made a movie. It was a huge.
It was based on a book.
Is it? Oh well, there you go. Maybe
it comes up in the opening credits.
All right, so it's based. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what saved it. But it did just, in a weird way, it stayed grounded, because even though it was apocalyptic, it was also inside of a cabin.
Yeah.
There was one person represented a portion of humanity, and I just really enjoy it. I was saying to Sheila when I was watching it, I was like, God, if he sticks to London, I'm going to be so impressed, because I'm just waiting
all those
for
pilots.
Unlike all those pilots.
I said it.
Yeah, how many people are in the? I'm looking it up. It's a staggering number of people are in the air at any given time.
100%.
Like unbelievable. Like 700 planes had crashed or something. Absolutely, yeah. So I thought they did the simple things really well, and I just like that. And Batista, he wants to be a bit of a meaty actor. He wants meaty roles, and he got a meaty role coming out of the forest, sitting with the girl, catching grasshoppers. Never, I think he loses his temper once and kind of says like "shut up" or something for a second, and then composes himself again.
Yeah.
So he was, despite the big foreboding Batista kind of factor, he was actually like really grounded and really gentle, and he hated this as much as everyone else, but nobody had a choice. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the movie. What about you? Tell me a few things about it.
I didn't know much going in. I just knew it was M.Night Shyamalan. So as you said, like the whole thing is like, when's the twist coming? But like from the get-go, you're like, these people are so nice that you want to believe them and you want to trust them, but you also at the same time you don't know if it's any better if they're right. Because at the end of the day, if they're right, the world ends, whatever. But at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to die. And like, there's 3 people there, 2 husbands and their adopted daughter. They all love each other. They're all each other's world, and they're going to have to make that sacrifice. So is it better that they're right or they're wrong? Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like, it is the clearest case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And and it's like it's fucking just amped up to the most, because like one stage you got like your own world in terms of your family and your loved ones. That's your world, and then you have the greater world, and it's just this like thing where we talk about the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the or needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few,
or the one.
Yeah, exactly.
And that really is relevant there.
Like, and it's kind of like, is it Patrick that says that, like, but you know what I mean? Let's just walk the world together. Let's just walk because like at the end of the day, without you, what's the point of going on, kind of thing. And that's what I love about it, that like the 2 dudes in it, that like they make such a strong case for not killing each other. Or like, and the daughter, like one thing I loved about the daughter was immediately out of the question. So it was just about which one it was going to die.
It was never even.
Yeah,
it was never even. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's what I loved
about they never even. But I exactly. It speaks to the fact, as well as having like empathy for our fellow man, we also have a lot of apathy.
Yeah.
And there is that, like, the world is an awful place and there's so many awful people in it.
Yeah,
let
especially
it all fucking burn, or something. There is
sex couple and stuff like that would have faced
face some sort of discreet, exactly, and probably starting a family and all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely kind of you had set
even
up
had to lie to get the adoption and stuff. Remember?
I remember that my wife couldn't make it. This is her brother, wasn't it? Yeah. I thought that was cool. I thought I did it kind of and I quite often it's a bit like I don't like dream sequences. I think you can have like one, unless it's central to the theme.
Yeah.
I also don't like when you keep going back in the past, because I think that can get confusing.
Yeah.
But this time it did it like 4 times or something, but it really set up who they are before they enter this horrible moment. And there was like 4 awful moments where they had to like choose, will you make a choice? And they say no, and then the person sacrifices themselves. Although, like, that one, the cook, they like really like, I have a son, and I'd be like, no.
Yeah. I'd be like, make her stop talking because she's ruining our case here. You know what I mean?
Just like in 6 hours, I'll have to go. I'm telling you now.
Can I ask you though, how much evidence would you have to see on the TV before you start thinking that what they're saying is true?
I'm thinking the second one.
The
I
tsunami.
think well, it's not even, it doesn't matter what the actual thing is, because my brain just starts going, like, we live in such a digital age.
Yeah.
That, like, I've seen like fake lottery pranks. Do you ever see that? They go out and get the ticket, they pre-record the lotto from the night before, and they look at it, and your man thinks he won the lotto. You can fuck with people, and this is obviously done. Like, before I believe that omnipotent forces, for some unexplained reason, have decided that me and my partner should decide the fate of the earth, like, that would take a lot of convincing. But the second time, you're kind of going, well, fuck me. And especially, it'd be like people are news people. Like, it went to all the major news stations, and they were just reporting on it. It wasn't like, as in, it wasn't like cheeky kind of like med at home kind of stuff. It was like, well, this is on the news. That the second one, I'm thinking the second one, definitely not the first one. I'd be like, one of them was like, no, fuck that, fuck you. This is all like this. One of them was like, the disease outbreak was like, we knew about that months ago. So even though it's accelerated to unprecedented degrees, you try and rationalize it. I don't know. I thought it was it's a good question. Like, what about you if you were sitting
the
in
world
there?
be on fire, and I'd be like, I'm not sure, lads. I don't know. I just think you're a stranger. I don't really know you. I don't know your motives. Like, for all I know, you could have drugged me. I could be hallucinating all this. And it's like lightning fire down the sky. I'm like, pretty good effects. Pretty good.
I'd be like the nihilist. You guys ended up in the wrong place.
You know what I mean? It's like the touch of God. Like, I'm like, it's God, it's lightning. I don't see God's hand really. Like, we go for metaphors now. Are we working with metaphors? Because metaphors can be contorted. Like, that's how the world would end. Me just trying to come to some sort of reasoning with it. Yeah, so I'm very indecisive sometimes. So, like, I think after I seen the tsunami, though, I would have been interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and you could see it. And of course, you had you always need a skeptic and a believer.
Yeah,
that's what makes it work. And you had your skeptic and your believer.
Yeah,
or you had the guy that said, I don't even if it is real, I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
there was that complete nihilism to it. And I
don't know. I thought why save a world that's hated us, or just like anything like.
Why do we go to bat for it? Why do we die for it?
Yeah,
why do we die for it? Yeah, of course. And you'd ask yourself,
what do you make it the reason? Because their love is so pure and all this.
That Batista kind of puts forward that that he thinks it's because their love is so pure. I thought he was an interesting character. Batista. I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy for him as an actor that he got that role. You think it would go to somebody who just has that kind of gravitas, like because the center of his character was not how intimidating he was at all.
Oh, it's Andrew, not Andrew and Eric. Not
Andrew and Eric, yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
And Yen or something was the daughter.
You keep talking there.
She was excellent. Right from the get-go, where she's catching grasshoppers. When? All right from the get-go, she's catching. I said Yen. It was near the end of the alphabet. But from the start, when she's catching grasshoppers, I was like, she's an actress. Like, she is. She's very present. She's very comfortable in her own skin.
The one-on-one close-ups with Batista was very interesting at the start.
Yeah. Oh God, you kept. I was thinking, because I knew not about. I was expecting him to just grab her by the throat, or even kill her, or just something.
For a second, I thought they were the first family, and when they were going to die before the credits, and then I thought it was going to show you the actual family.
That thing where it sets up the
premise.
Stakes.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on, like.
So did I. Actually, that's it. I didn't think that they were going to survive for very long at all.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought everybody was well cast. Even the annoying girl. I think she was supposed to be that. She was supposed to be just this like girl from kind of remarkably remarkably unremarkable,
Yeah.
And of course, you know, when she's like, I have a son, he was like, I don't believe for a fucking second she had a son.
Yeah.
Then he finds the pictures and stuff like
Yeah, oh man, because that's the best thing about it. Like everything was a red herring, and because it's one of the few times where because of the director's past filmography that you doubt the movie even more, and that worked in his
yeah.
advantage massively because like you would have other people and you'd be like, oh yeah, you might start looking at certain things in other ways, but because it's M. Night Shyamalan and because of all the twists and because he's known so much for his twist endings, that when you see a movie and you're like, he's giving you up all the evidence, he's giving you all the answers, and because he's already given you so many wrong answers or led you down so many blind alleys in the past, you don't believe any of the answers he's
That's
giving
the
you.
thing. That's exactly
Yeah,
bring back
that's
like
the thing.
not a
And it's
twist.
because
That's
of the
how you could
director
fuck with
more
us
so
now.
than the story, nearly like,
Yeah.
you know.
You
And
just think, all right, if you have to stay true to the book, because you could just imagine them in the room with the execs and going, and then they drive off and
yeah.
he's going, yeah, and it was a parallel art, and just the producer starts to cry, like, you know,
Yeah.
no, no, Mr. Shyamalan,
Yeah.
please,
Reel it back, reel it back.
yeah, yeah. But it turns out that we were the spectators and all that. Yeah, yeah, you know, it's just, you know, it's just in him there. He
Yeah.
can't help himself. But he did. He actually made a really, really good film. And I was, you know, I was looking through his discography recently and I was just like, wow, this guy swings wide.
Yeah.
Like it is a miss and he just swung before the ball was thrown.
Yeah.
Or he absolutely knocks it out of the park. And there's like one or two like good, okay, not great films, but when they're bad, like when they're Last
Mm.
Airbender, or you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like when they're bad, they're bad, and
Yeah.
when they're good, they're really good. And this was
Last
really good.
Airbender was like very hard to kind of adapt though at that stage, wasn't it? Unless you want to
True,
go whole hog. Like
true, not true. It
yeah,
was
because the anime it's an anime, isn't it?
actually it's not
Manga.
technically. No, not even that. It's actually a
No.
Western made thing, and that's the thing. It was like what the Nickelodeon made it.
What?
Yeah,
You serious?
yeah, yeah. Nickelodeon made it. It's
Is
probably
there a name
based on
for
a
that?
manga or whatever.
Is there a
That's
name
the
for
thing.
that? Like a
There is
Western red
a
manga?
name for it, but I can't remember. But it is
No.
technically just a cartoon.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's one of
It's
these.
so
But there is a word, and I can't think of it.
yeah. If only you could find out. Anywho.
Well, you're okay.
But yeah, no, so like I think he was unlucky a couple of times because like when you have big ideas, sometimes your big ideas don't or like we always talk about, and I don't want to keep saying it, but like when we talk about horror, the hardest thing to do is stick the landing. And with M. Night Shyamalan, because he does take these big swings, that he has these big ideas, and if he doesn't have like if they don't really like culminate in the way he anticipates or culminate in the way for the audience to kind of relate to or react to, that it kind of can fall flat in its face. Like we've seen that a couple of times with these movies, like you know, and we've been doing a rankers list, so we kind of gone touched on a few of his movies and what made them strong or weak or whatever. And like, and one of the things really is because he's such a twist heavy, twist ending kind of director that sometimes his big ideas need very good twists to pull off an ending that's really rewarding and worthwhile.
Yeah,
And sometimes like that's where he makes his big mistake is actually having a big ass twist at the end when it actually sometimes distracts from the overall story. And I think, and then after a while, you keep looking out for it. And I think that's what made Knock at the Cabin kind of different, is because
yeah, fair.
you're looking out for something that never came because he was giving you all the information you needed
Yeah,
for the ending, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you
I
know,
like nobody wants somebody to spoil. Nobody wants somebody to come up and say, "Oh," and then you know, obviously this is a spoiler show and we've seen it, and it's for people who've
yeah,
seen it. Nobody wants to come up and say, "Yeah, Batista's the last guy and he slits his own throat," and then it turns out nobody wants to do that. But if somebody had come up to me and said, "Look, it's actually not really that twist heavy. It's a
yeah,
more straightforward," I probably would have appreciated it because,
mm,
like, kind of like what you were saying, for the last 20 years. Shyamalan's been just throwing this shit at me. So now
yeah,
I'm just like, you see, no, see, she's bad. He's good.
yeah, yeah,
No, you see, what happened was a rich, fucking powerful group of
yeah,
people. Now I'm M. Night Shyamalan.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
And if
Now
somebody said,
you're
actually,
making
this,
twists, like,
yeah, I said the story's actually, if they just gave me this, the story's actually more straightforward than
yeah,
what you think it's going to be. I might have relaxed more and just watched it because I
yeah.
was just looking. Why did like for example,
It's
I'll give you
better that
one
way, I
thing.
think, though.
You know, Rupert, they're like the first guy to
Ron
actually go.
Weasley.
You know, why did he make a weapon?
Why do any of them have weapons?
No, but why? They all made weapons.
Yeah.
Why did he make a weapon? He doesn't use it. He
To
lies
kill
down and he
himself.
gets killed with all the other weapons.
Because
The first.
he drops himself onto his first weapon, onto his weapon first.
Does he? I thought he
Yeah.
places it on the ground.
And drops himself onto it, and then they all beat him to death.
Fair enough. Okay, actually, that is an answer.
Yeah, they all fall
I
in their
thought he
own
laid
grave.
him down, and I thought the two of them, the two women, hit him in the head, and then I thought Batista came up and finished him off with that kind of.
No,
But
like
fine. I
I
guess
think
I
they
guess I
all
missed
like
that.
don't they showed later on with Adrian or something that girl's name. where she's the second one to die, and she falls on her own weapon, and then the two of them like start attacking him with their weapons.
Yeah,
And
God,
and if you look, Batista kills himself at the end with his own blade as well, doesn't he? He slits his own
he does.
throat.
He kills himself with his
Yeah,
own blade.
I think they all pretty much do that. Like it's like a sacrifice. You know, you have to
Yeah,
sacrifice yourself first, and
but
then they finish it
I
off.
said to Sheila, it's like they all represent a horseman.
Yeah,
And it turned out that they said, you know, because there was like one, it was a natural occurrence, one was like a biological attack, what that man-made or not. And I was
yeah,
like, yeah, so they all represent some kind of aspect of humanity or ways that it could all go to
yeah.
shit. Like
Pestilence, war,
yeah,
famine,
that's it.
death.
Yeah. Capitalism, you know.
Yeah.
Um but no, I did think that, you know, for example, when the nurse comes in and she hits your man in the head and then she goes, "I'm a nurse," you know, like, and it's the same. You're still very confused, and I'm like, you just broke in and attacked them.
Yeah. It's like, I know I hurt you, but I can heal you. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
yeah.
don't want you to.
And you see, we're like, it's they got the two guys. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you must feel great now that you've got the queers tied to a chair," and everyone's going, "Whoa!" Like as if that's the most dramatic thing that's happening. It's a home invasion. You've all
Yeah.
got weapons.
It's like, not PC, dude. Not
We
PC,
haven't
dude.
got a homophobic bone in our bodies, and you're like, dude, like looking from where they're literally sitting and tied to the seat in you know. And I thought, yeah, it was,
equal opportunity home invaders, I
but
guess.
that was it. It was that they didn't. They weren't.
Yeah.
They were just random people. God,
It's
it was a really
kind of
good
like
movie.
the way they portrayed the characters as well. Is that like you really want to believe them, like the whole way through, because like the more you get to know the characters, and you're like, can they really be this good? Like, because like Batista's like a really fucking good dude, and like they all have pretty much
Yeah,
sins in their past, but they've all kind of righted their wrongs pretty much, except
yeah,
for like Rupert Grint. I think like
yeah.
he's
Redmond,
yeah,
who was
Redmond.
really O'Bannon.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
O'Bannon, yeah, and
They really went with the red hair aspect, isn't
but
it?
but like yeah, no, I just thought it was cool that like the more the characters developed, the more and more you wanted to believe them, but yet the more
Yes.
and more your guard was up against them.
Probably why
You know what
Redmond
I
went
mean?
first,
Like,
because they were like, there is a shallowness to him
yeah,
by design.
yeah,
You know
and
that
he's a
he's,
ginger, so first to
yeah, he's
sacrifice.
so like, yeah, exactly. And
Money joke.
in a pinch.
In a pinch.
But I thought that yeah, you were right. That they really kind of fleshed them out. Even when like you have one of them making eggs for the daughter,
Yeah.
and just talking to her about like, oh, to say if you can make great eggs, you can make anything. She's just chit chatting to your one, and your one's like, okay, you know.
Mm.
But they were, but Batista, it was the don't judge a book by his cover. He had all the tattoos, and he's one of the most intimidating men that's ever walked the planet. And he was an absolute sweetheart. And I was actually sorry. I was hoping he would survive. So it was weird that you make some home invasion guy kind of likable, but he actually did it. I think it's a sign that maybe Shyamalan, if he worked a little bit more with material of other people, and he can put his own kind of like flair on it for sure, but like,
Yeah.
because he cannot help himself.
Yeah, his visuals are
Can't.
so nice though, aren't they?
Oh my God, they are.
Like
And
the
you know, like,
close-ups
and
and the
the
way he mixes
scope of
it.
the stories he tells
Yeah.
are always so huge, like, you know.
But like they're huge, but wrapped up in personal tales. That's what he
Yes.
does. He loves
It's from the
character-driven
perspective
storytelling.
of a family
Yeah, exactly.
in the
Most of
middle
it,
of a
like
field
like
in the, you know.
Signs. Look at Signs. Like it's all about the
Yes.
world ending again. It's all about alien invasion, told through the perspective of one family in Middle America, whatever. Like look at Knock at the Cabin. Once again, it's an apocalyptic tale told through the one one experience, the experiences of one
He
family.
loves
You
an
know what I mean?
apocalyptic tale. Old as
Yeah,
an apocalyptic tale,
yeah.
to the
You know
best
what
of
I
my
mean?
knowledge.
Well,
What's the
old
one?
is the apocalyptic tale. It's more like a
What's the
cursed
Mark
tale.
Wahlberg
The Happening.
the Happening? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the trees, you see.
It's the trees, you see. Yeah.
Rah!
Again, but
I'm
this thing,
Marky
I've been
Mark.
avoiding them.
Oh, look
I
at
haven't seen. There's a lot of these. Yeah,
Transformer.
yeah.
And terrible accents. But
That
also
was
amazing.
flawless. It was
I
like
was
he was
saying,
here.
I think it was flawless. I got our Boston producer in my ear, and he's saying he wants to fight me in Charlestown. Weird. Weird. He wants to take me to Southie or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not going to end well for me, is all I know.
But I know. Tell me, where do you think this ranks? I know it's
I
a
can't tell you.
rankers,
Like,
but if you were to measure it
not in the
between the
top
greats,
five.
not in the top five.
No, definitely not in the top five. I think it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, and I think the stakes are really, really well convey to the audience in terms of like what's on, like what's at stake. I tried not to repeat myself, but
I know, I
like,
don't
but
hate it.
yeah, but like, you know what I mean, what's really laid down on the line here for these characters? What are the options? And like, and not only that, we also see the way they flesh out the characters is really well done, because you see the sacrifice of all the characters. And more, you're going to relate to the characters, and the stakes become higher and higher, and how much they have to lay down. Because put yourself, I said to Lorraine the other partner, I said to her, put yourself in that situation. She's like, it's not that scary. And I go, think about it. Right. Think about the situation we're in. It's you, your two loved ones, the two people you love more than anybody else in the entire world, just three of you. And now, add on top of that, that you have the fate of humanity on your shoulders. Now, add on top of that, that the only way you can save humanity is by killing one of each other. Think about that. But at the end of that day, the only way to save the world that scorns you, all right, is by killing someone that you love the most out of anyone in the world. And so much so that you've been picked by some higher power, that your love is so much and so pure that you have to put it on the line. Imagine that situation. There's not a lot of jump scares or whatever, but think about the implication, to quote Dennis Reynolds, the implication, you know what I
The
mean?
implication.
The implication.
No, of course you wouldn't do it. It's
Yeah.
just the implication.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, that's what I love about this movie. It's light on jump scares and all that, and the special effects are a bit dodgy or whatever. But the implication of the decision that has to be made
Yes,
is fucking terrifying, and that's what it does really, really well, I think.
that's it. Yeah, it makes you ask questions. Like,
Yeah.
like it's a like these stupid would you rather things.
Yeah.
And it's one of those in a kind of a horror setting.
Yeah.
And because it is a would you rather. Well, I know you love me, but what if? And you can't kill yourself, because that's obviously what you would, the noble sacrifice would have been an easy way out.
Yeah.
But you would literally have to be the one to physically do the killing of the other one.
Yeah.
There was no way around that. You would physically have to kill the other one. The child is off the table.
Yeah.
For starters. So
Even
it's
though
between you and the person,
they're not
your
related to
partner.
her technically, but I said it.
Yeah.
We're all talking. I said it.
It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of how.
Oh my god, that was a rough pun. That's a rough.
It's a rough pun. It's a rough pun, but we got it over the line. I do. Now that you told me this is from a book, that's all I can think. I can always think that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you
make reined in by the source material.
Make fun of Michael Bay, but you bring him onto anything as a visual director, and he'll turn coal to diamonds. That's what he does. He can give you any scope. He'll think angles. He'll think of all of it mathematically, and he will deliver. But the guy can't do the flesh and bones.
Yeah,
he can't. He doesn't. But he can't. But he's
no character development, no chemistry. Just cast people because they look good.
Just say, look, I have an idea, and of course it culminates in this, and just say like the huge culmination, and he'd be like, he'll give it to you. He will give it to you more than anybody else. And there is something that Shyamalan brings to the table, maybe inside of the confines of a story.
Yeah.
It has twists and turns of its own, but doesn't need the but now it turns out that none of that, it was all a ruse. You're like, oh. Because I've avoided a couple of Shyamalan films because I just never.
I think he got obsessed with trying to be the Hitchcock of his era with all these kind of twist endings, but Hitchcock didn't do it all the time. As far as like, I've never seen every Hitchcock movie, but like as what I know of, like Hitchcock did not do it all the time. It's like, and Hitchcock was
some films were open ended. I think The Birds was quite open ended and stuff like that. It was happening because it was happening, but it's from the perspective of people who would have no idea or no way of finding out why it's happening.
Watch The Birds sometime.
Watch The Birds sometime.
That'd be amazing.
Watched it at my grandmother's house back in the 90s. I cannot remember anything.
When you're in your mid-40s then, were you?
Yeah.
The man is ageless, 72 years old, going strong. Ageless. He's like a fucking whiskey, so he is ageless. But like
fighter with age.
But like the whole thing about this movie though is like and the same thing with M.Night Shyamalan is that like he might have like had like because he had the kind of parameters of the story to work within, and might have reined him in, but at the same time like he's kind of trying to rein himself in sometimes. I noticed lately where his twists aren't as big and on the nose, but like if you look at like the Glass trilogy for like Unbreakable, Split, and Glass, like there's a big twist in Split and Unbreakable and all that, but like he kind of muted down the kind of twists as the movies went along, and he's done that a lot.
No, that's actually fair.
You know what I
Like,
mean? Like After Earth and shit like that was atrocious, and I think after he got his comeback with The Visit and movies like that, I think he started to tone his
yeah,
tone down, for lack
but
of a word.
there is that kind of thing where but it's a balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, again, to use the directors, this guy, if we use this guy, it's going to be explosions, and if we use this guy, it's going to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's
because
entertainment.
you're hiring
You
him for
have that.
what he is, really,
You're
aren't
hiring
you?
him for what he is, but
Yeah.
that's why we have the Spielbergs and something go down as the best, because they kind of like they try to give you a little bit of everything, but ultimately they're trying to tell you a story.
Yeah,
And that's what this show, and this film actually was a story at the center of it. Like I said, like huge implications, but we seen it through a TV on
yeah,
a TV, you
exactly.
know.
Yeah,
But it was huge, but again, there was a disconnect,
yeah,
and yeah, I just think, yeah, more of that. And you're right, if you're to trace it ever since like you know, Split had the whole thing where the beast was real. I was like, cool,
yeah, yeah,
that's cool. Like that, you know, that it actually culminates in something that is superhuman. I
yeah,
thought that was cool. And then you have the after credit scene, iconic,
yeah.
instantly iconic. I was delighted with it, and I
Mm.
kind of went, cool. It wasn't jumping through fucking hoops to have, you know, because I mean, the village had a twist inside of a twist,
Yeah,
and I
the
was
village double twisted. Like,
so twisted out by the end of it. I didn't
yeah,
even hate it. Everyone
yeah.
hated that movie more than I did. I
I
didn't
love three
actually.
quarters of it.
Yeah, that's it. And but I was just like, I was twisted out.
Yeah,
I just
because the
was. You know
first
what I
twist
mean?
was a really good twist, and the second twist
It
was
was a
completely
really good
unnecessary.
twist. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a really
the
good
second
twist.
twist was completely unnecessary, and I think that's the problem. But
Yeah,
I think, yeah, like with him, as you said, like it's like if you hire Michael Bay, you hire him for what he is, and sometimes you want this guy to be able to come up with a very kind of twisty ending. But I think now is like we can see that, like, he has other strengths as a storyteller. He doesn't need to have a big convoluted twist at the end.
yeah.
I think it makes sense for him to work at his strengths. I think he's
He always knew pace, and he
excellent
always knew
pace.
characters.
Yeah,
You know,
great dialogue in a lot of his films
he could
too.
dialogue as well.
I
Absolutely,
love
kind of quiet chemistry,
mm,
like Sixth Sense and stuff. Like a quiet chemistry.
yeah,
It's not electric at all. It's slow burning, but it's there.
yeah,
You know, these two people feel connected to you through
yeah. It's very muted
experiences.
or something.
Yeah, very muted, but it
Mm.
beautiful in a way.
Yeah, like the
And
back
he's
and
really
forth
good at
Haley
that.
Joel Osment and Bruce Willis has in Sixth Sense, or the
Yeah,
back
it
and
was
forth Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson have in Unbreakable or something like.
exactly a lot of
Yeah,
it's whispered even.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It was
uh,
that's
and once
and
again, it leans back to the implication because, like, they're talking very muted tones, but oftentimes they're saying massive things, or
massive
massive
things.
things are being revealed, and it's kind of that like thing that he does so well is kind of like he sneaks in these things and he raises tension. I think like he's got so many gifts and talents as a director. Like his shot choice is next level. I think like some of the close ups in this, man, like as you touched on earlier, the opening with Leonard and Wayne, when they're catching grasshoppers, and it's just so muted, but something immediately puts you on ease.
Oh,
Like,
I was very on it.
yeah,
The
yeah,
difference between a 40-something-year-old Batista
a
standing
giant of a
over
man, like,
an 8-year-old, a little girl,
mm,
and she is quite exposed. She's
yeah,
literally out in the open by herself.
yeah,
And I had no idea what he actually wanted. And even there was again a quiet line, but a great line. He goes, "I'm your friend when, and no matter what happens, I want you to remember that."
yeah,
And I
man,
was
that's
like, "Oh,
terrifying.
what
Like,
the fuck does that
yeah,
mean?" Like,
man, I'm
you
a fully
know?
grown dude. If Batista says that to me, I'm shitting my pants. Like, you
Oh
know what I
my
mean?
god!
I'm
Like,
like,
you
oh,
know,
wait, well, what's going to happen? Like, you know
oh
what I
yeah, he
mean? Like,
had the dialogue of a Gary Oldman or something. He had the
mm,
dialogue of somebody whose presence is what makes
yeah,
them scary.
yeah,
That their calmness almost makes him scary. And I like the fact that he just didn't rely on his strength at any point at all. There is the kind of part where, you know, they fight back a bit and stuff, but he doesn't go like Bane on them or something.
yeah,
He just
yeah.
doesn't, you know, he's like, please stop, you know, or
You're,
enough,
that
you know.
dude Andrew beats the fuck out of Ron Weasley. Oh
Jesus, he
my
does.
god, like combinations left and right. Oh my
And then
god.
when he realizes he was the guy who hate crimed him years before,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have been like, just sitting there kind of going, extra nice. You know what I mean? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely got
Yeah.
to lay. Like, imagine that. You're just sitting around and all you got to deck the guy who get traumatized you years
Yeah,
before. But like,
man,
yeah.
like, yeah, what did you make of the links they had with one another and stuff like that? That's very M. Night Shyamalan, isn't it?
I was expecting it once he had a link to one of them, I was expecting links to all of the other ones.
Yeah,
And I even said to Sheila, because you know, again, it's M.Night Shyamalan, so you're just guessing, like I touched on earlier. But I was like, I bet you maybe they all did something a little bit homophobic or a little bit kind of
Discriminatory or whatever.
discriminatory, because one of them worked in the medical field.
Yeah.
One of them you would have come across in a restaurant. One of them you would have come across in the education system. Places where you could find. One of them literally found them because he actually is a full-blown hate crime bigot. But like places, and I was thinking like something that would nudge their decision. But he had a huge connection to this first guy, of all the billions of people in the world, to this first guy. And then was there any major implication?
Was there not a connection to the rest of them? I'm trying to remember. I thought there was.
Yeah,
No,
no, not that I recall. No,
moving on.
But that's what I mean, and that's but like it kind of works still, because the whole thing is like it's too big for you to know why.
Yeah, who
Too
was
big.
most unsettling for you of the whole group?
What was the name of the nurse lady?
Adrian or
No, not the age. Not she was the chef. The nurse lady, the one who concussed.
the older woman.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, wait there 1 second. You keep
but
talking. I have it open in a
but she was.
different
There was something in her. She was
Sabrina.
Sabrina. There was something in her eyes, like
by
she.
Nikki Amuka Bird.
There was something about the scope of what was going on that I felt like only she really got. There was like, so she had the eyes. She was suffering through every second of it.
Yeah,
and in this quite kind of really upset way. I don't know. I just thought the acting was, and even there's a scene where she's stitching your man's head or something, the concussed guy, and she's just saying, like, about the visions and stuff like that, and you just believed her. Like, that woman cannot wrap her head around what's actually going on, because she's not full-blown cynical like Redmond. She's not like kind of befuddled like Adrian or something like that. Batista had a quiet strength, but she was just really feeling it, and I just thought that her presence, I was waiting for her to do something crazy. You know what I mean? Like, the scope of it, I was waiting for her to do something really, really crazy, and she kind of does. But like, why did she run back into the house? Like, she's not allowed to attack them. you know? Like, she's literally not allowed. So she takes a bullet, and
that part was fucking insane. The part where he goes to get the gun. Like, like, literally, man, I would have had them so dead. Like, you know what I mean? Though, like, it's like he fucking takes a week to get that gun. Like,
and he starts.
I
was thinking, like, he starts loading lots of bullets into it as she's stabbing him.
All you need is one. All you need is one bullet. Just shoot her, even if you don't kill her.
For now.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you loading more than one bullet, dude? Right there.
Check the chamber. Make sure that the safety is
proper gun safety. That's what I'm all about. I want to teach a good example to my daughter. She was like, stop. It's like the prison bitch in American Dad. Do you remember when he keeps stabbing Francine?
Oh yeah.
She's stabbing the fuck out of the dude, just like, you know what I mean? Oh shit, let me check the caliber. Like, let me just like this. It's like, seriously, dude,
exactly.
one bullet. She's literally inside of you right now. Like, you know what I mean?
One bullet, and don't tell her that you just put in one bullet. Even if you did want to go the warning shot route, which he did, just don't tell her you put in one bullet there. And now I would
like
climb back in
times, and he warning shots her. Like,
I thought it might have been fatal. I didn't think like he's definitely fatal. I'm thinking, like, we're getting there, aren't we? That's a big piece of metal to be shoved into your stomach, like, you know.
Stab wounds don't seem to do the same kind of damage in movies as they used to.
They don't. Like, unless anything bar the jugular, and you're kind of you might just be okay. Anything below, like you know, like shiv territory, you'll be okay. But this one's took essentially a pickaxe in him, and he was kind of okay. Like, but
which is insane, because Jamie Lee Curtis got stabbed in like Halloween. She was down for the trilogy. Like, it was like, she barely did that for the other two movies after that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Corey Cunningham was too busy there running amok all over Haddonfield. Fucking insane. Fucking hell, man. That movie was trash.
That movie was absolute garbage.
Yeah, but like, do you think now, of all the M.Night Shyamalan movies you've seen over the years, that this one was a more contained story, and that was a strength and not a weakness?
Yes, this movie wasn't trying to be anything other than what it was. It was self-contained. It had a beginning, it had a middle, and an end. It had a huge scope.
Yeah,
and it had that kind of like question mark of them driving off into the distance, but not towards a second movie. You know what I mean? Like the story is
very
100%
self-contained,
very self-contained,
yeah,
very told. I'm sure maybe this happens again in a generation or whatever way it works.
yeah.
But this story is completely and totally
Yeah,
over.
because doesn't Eric say that it was like maybe this has been happening throughout time, families have
Yeah,
made the choose over and over and over again, and yeah,
yeah,
like yeah, and that makes sense to me. It's the kind of thing like all these like apocalyptic events or whatever, and how they've been steered clear, and how humanity keeps going. It's because it's continuous sacrifice or something, that kind
yeah.
of thing, like and that's kind of cool that even though it's a contained story, that there is much wider implications throughout history and like how long has this been going on for, and how many people have died because of it, like so that's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
terrifying onto itself as well.
absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there was some cool scenes with the 50-foot waves coming in onto the beach, and
Yeah, tsunamis are fucking terrifying, dude.
tsunamis are
Yeah,
mind-boggling.
yeah. Ever since Deep Impact, man,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that fucking tsunami, man, was extra special. You
And
know
it's
what
a
I mean?
small little country that we're in, like completely, so
Yeah, we're a
completely
fucking island
surrounded.
country as well.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
we're completely surrounded by
yeah.
water. It's
Could you imagine one of
terrifying.
them tsunamis ripping through Ireland?
Right into the Irish Sea, like
Yeah,
right into the Irish Sea, like
yeah.
Oh God.
Like seriously, insane. Like I'd probably be grand. I could swim against like any kind of current. You know what I mean? No biggie. Like
Yeah,
Phelps.
yeah.
Me and Phelpsy are like this, but whatever. Like I call him Phelpsy. A lot of people might call him like Olympic.
Well, I call him P Fizzle, but
Yeah, P
whatever.
Fizzle. Yeah, you would though. You would. You're always a little bit extra. You're always jealous of my relationship with Phelpsy. But like, yeah. So no, before we get the fuck out of here, like, what do you expect like to see from M.Night Shyamalan going forward? Do you think he's going to have more of these, or do you think he's going to go back with a twist? Because one thing I did touch on earlier, his twists are becoming a little bit less and less as they're
I
going along.
do, but to predict what that man is going to do
It's impossible nearly.
is impossible.
I realize as
I
the
know,
person.
I know what I'd
Mm.
like, and I'd like him to stay grounded. His best storytelling. I think he's trying to grab that sixth sense kind of
Vibe.
appreciation,
Mm.
and
I
but
hear
it's
Servant's really good on Apple TV. Haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
But I do think that just tell a story first and foremost.
Mm.
That's the important. The twist isn't the most important thing. The story is.
Yeah.
And if he makes films like that, he actually clearly is an incredibly world-class director.
Yeah.
He just
He's a very clever storyteller up to a
he just
point.
needs to get out of his own way.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Like, I mean, I couldn't lace the man's boots, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's
Because of your
my
phobia
2
of
cents is
laces
worth
or
1
whatever.
cent. Like, he needs to get out of his own way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because like you've seen it that like when he doesn't overthink an ending, that sometimes they're his best endings, and like it's
Yes.
yeah, and we'll see that like when we talk about our rankers episode that's coming up in a couple of days. That when we look at his movies, I'm sure there'll be the ending and the twists and all these little things will be a running will be a reoccurrence through our list. And like one thing about Knock at the Cabin Door, Knock at the Cabin. I keep calling it Knock at the Cabin Door because it's like it doesn't feel like a full title to me. But Knock at the Cabin, like for me, I thought it was a very clever story, lots of like big stakes, lots of fucking crazy implications, and it's like a very personal story as well. But at the same thing, as we said, it's got the stake of the world on his shoulders. This family does, and it's like it's very cleverly done. That like to really weigh up that moment in time, that decision, that sacrifice. Would you do it? Or would you let humanity die? Like, and that's the crazy thing. Like, and when movies make you ask such big questions, I think it's done its job excellently. What do you think, Noel, before we leave?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this film has achieved what it was that it set out to achieve.
Yeah.
It was never good that it was going to set. It was never going to be Avatar or something. It was never about setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
It was about a return on investment.
But technically, the world was set on fire, but whatever.
Actually, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it did. But
Yeah.
but no, it was a return on investment. They wanted success first and foremost. It is a business, but secondly, they wanted to be able to actually release a product that you could stand outside of it and look at it and go, yeah, that was a decent movie.
Yeah.
Like I find it hard to look. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I find it hard to hate this movie.
Yeah.
And his movies do get a lot of hate. It'd be very hard to hate this movie. This movie.
Because it had so many good things about it.
It did, and it was really well acted, and it was, and there was, it had brevity, it had gravity to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like more of this, Mr. Shyamalan. But a really good outing by him, and I'm really, really, really impressed with it. I'm glad I went in blind. I think higher or lowered expectations might have affected it.
Yeah.
But I think I actually just got to enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah, because I seen the trailer, but the trailer gave very little away. Like, and I think
Sheila had seen the trailer and she was like, "Oh, I think it's they go into a house, but they're not allowed to go outside the house or something. She thought, or so, you know,
Yeah,
like
like
she,
a home
I was,
invasion type thing or something.
yeah, and I thought, like, you know, she was only able to piece together bits and pieces, but that, like, I mean, you can't take the mystique away from the man. Like, he'd rather
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, he's an excellent marketer as well as an excellent storyteller, like, you know what I mean?
That
So
he is.
yeah,
That
so
he is.
before we get out of here, Noel, is that everything you want to say, or we just
That's everything I want to say.
All right, so all right, folks, I'm your host, Vince Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Toohey.
And this is Division of Potty Snatchers. That was Knock at the Cabin. And if you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, hit us up in the comment sections. See you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Peace. The Last Airbender is an animated series.
Thank you. Goodbye.